Hi, my name is Megan Dibble. I'm from Herd and Flock Animal Sanctuary.
And I'm Jessica Peters from Oakland Street Bunz.
And we were asked to talk a little bit about how you can help your local sanctuary or animal rescue. And Jessica and I met a year-ish ago. My wife and I bought a 60-acre ranch 5 years ago and decided to put a cow on it, but of course you can't just have one. And now we have 170 animals. Funny how that happens. And we have a team of animal caregivers, and we always said, we're not going to do small companion animals like rabbits and cats because we live out in the country and we have all this room, until people started dumping rabbits. And of course I was up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. looking at Facebook. Don't do it. Don't do that. Big mistake. And I saw somebody post about the dumped rabbits, and we got involved, and you will find this familiar. We somehow wrangled like 10 rabbits from the wilds, all like domestic rabbits, clearly not wild rabbits. And within 36 hours, we had 30 rabbits. Yeah, that was a lot. And I didn't meet you at that point, but I know that you can relate.
Yeah, absolutely. My organization is focused solely on picking up rabbits who've been dumped, usually residential areas, also parks. And so, as Megan found out quickly, one of the problems with that is people don't spay and neuter these rabbits, and then they dump them either with a litter of babies or while pregnant. And you get a ton of bunnies in a residential area, often getting hit by cars, getting picked off by predators. They're a prey animal, so they don't do well outside, as you can imagine. And the problem is exponential. If they don't get fixed, the problem continues.
When did you start Oakland Street Bunz, and why?
Yeah, well, I started rescuing rabbits 30 years ago, but I officially started Oakland Street Bunz at the beginning of the pandemic because our issues with overpopulation of rabbits in the Bay Area were getting much, much, much worse very rapidly. And I think that's true in all rescue and shelter and animal rescue environments because there wasn't spay and neuter services in the same volume during the pandemic that there usually is. It's an exponential math problem. So I've been rescuing them a long time, but I started Oakland Street Bunz only recently because we needed a lot more help. Prior to starting it, I was picking up 35 to 45 bunnies per year off the streets. Last year, we picked up over 300, and by the height of the summer, the dumping season, we were responding to maybe 10% of the requests we got. So if that gives you a sense, and a lot of people say, well, I've never seen that. How can that be? I promise you, now that you've heard me, you will see it. You will suddenly go, oh my gosh, wait a minute, there's a white rabbit running around this neighborhood. Those bunnies, they have a clock ticking. They need help immediately, or they will either be killed outside or have babies outside, which is frankly in a way worse because those babies are then in the same position. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm lucky because we have a big property with barns, and so when we got those 30 rabbits, even though we were like, at least we could figure out a safe space indoors for them. But you don't have, you know, a big rabbit rescue ranch.
No, I wish. And if anyone wants to donate a giant property for us, that would be amazing. But no, we're foster based. So we've got fosters all the way up north in Santa Rosa, all the way down to San Jose. Really, anywhere in a 3-hour radius, we'll accept fosters because we desperately need homes. And we can only pick up as many as we have placement for. So we're really limited in how many we can save based on how many spots we've got to put them. And obviously for you, the situation becomes much more difficult. Not everybody can fit a cow.
No.
However, you know, chickens, you can accept some chickens if you got a good backyard situation. Maybe not in the city, maybe more in the East Bay.
It's really depends.
I know, it really depends on your space. I have chickens in the backyard, though.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Do you not know that?
No.
I have illegal roosters in my backyard, and now the world knows about it. Oh, my God. I live in Fruitvale. No one cares. It does not matter. My neighbors are like, we love them. But technically, you can't have roosters in an urban environment, just FYI. But you can have the girls. The girls need homes.
Yep.
And I'm sure you've got an excess amount of girls, right?
Yeah, and when we first got those rabbits, we didn't know anything about rabbits, and so we went on Facebook to House Rabbit Society, and I think that's when I actually started fangirling on Jessica, because we really didn't know anything about rabbits, but we learned a lot through that group. And so by joining some of these groups, like if you know somebody that has a rabbit and is like, I can't do the rabbit, I'm just going to let them out, please help us by saying, please don't do that. Find help. One of the ways that I feel like you need a lot of help is through having people ready to foster or being willing to foster, and people who have had rabbits in the past or have items to donate, or excess funds to sponsor, right?
For sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure we're both in the position. We could always use more donations. It is expensive to take care of critters, and vet bills are for sure both of our highest costs, without question. But in terms of fostering, all we need is folks to have a little bit of space. We provide all the resources, all the supplies, all the education. We just need a little space for these bunnies to land. And fresh veg, they're all vegans, so you can, if you don't have to feel bad if you've got 2 bunches of kale that you didn't make your way through, the bunnies will happily accept it. They're a little bit of a learning curve, it's true, but when you've got support, it makes it a lot easier, makes it, more doable. And we are really in desperate need of those spaces right now, for sure. For sure, we're addressing a lot more dumped bunnies out on the streets than there used to be just 5 years ago. So anybody who's got a friend who's got an apartment that's just big enough and they don't feel like they can have a dog or a cat, bunnies are perfect for that person. Plus, they go potty in a potty box. It's very non-offensive. It's much better smelling than most other creatures' potty box. So, in terms of those kind of things, they're a fellow vegan who just needs a place to crash. A lot easier to help out than other critters, potentially.
Yeah, and having a robust foster program, it's one of the ways that we actually started. We would foster animals that were just rescued, like chickens in particular, just rescued from factory farming or from other kinds of egg farms. And we would have, maybe 300 chickens at a time and then look for homes for them. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to cats, dogs, and rabbits, which is kind of like our, Venn diagram overlap, is the rabbits. It's just having a place where they can be safe and have a pair of eyes on them. You can imagine for the pigeons that we recently rescued about almost a year ago this month, we rescued 60 pigeons that were living in an aviary at a rescue that failed. We don't know anything about pigeons, and so we quickly learned a lot about pigeons, but with that many animals, we can't always have our eyeballs on them all the time. We do see them several times a day, at breakfast and at dinner, but we really love volunteers who can come in and learn how to take care of certain enclosures, spend some time enriching animals. Do you have an enrichment program where you teach people how to enrich at home?
Oh, absolutely. Bunnies, I like to tell people, they are among the most comical animals you will ever come across. I have parrots at home, and the bunnies are even funnier than they are, which is really saying something if you've ever met parrots. They're wild people. Bunnies are really funny, personable, comical little critters, and the more attention you give them as a foster, the better chances of them getting adopted, right? If they're coming in off the streets, they're terrified, they've never engaged with anybody, half the time they don't even know how to play with a toy. But 2 weeks, 3 weeks later in a foster home, you've got a bunny who's much more comfortable and much more interested in humans, and then that bunny has a better chance of finding a new home because you've put in the work to make them feel comfortable and safe. And I think, that's true for all rescued critters, but prey animals, it's even more true. They just simply are afraid of a lot more things because they're potentially food for a lot more things. So having a kind person around, particularly a vegan, you don't smell like a predator to them. It helps them out a lot, makes them feel comfortable. So one person can make a huge difference for those bunnies just by giving them a safe, comfortable place to land. Yeah.
So fosters, is one way to volunteer. Showing up at a property or like at our sanctuary to volunteer is super duper helpful. Enrichment ideas. You know what else is really helpful I found is we have a couple of volunteers actually come up every week from San Francisco, and you know what they do? They kind of troll Craigslist. We have gotten a free fridge, free couch, replacement cat carriers, for the rabbits or for the pigeons. We've gotten so many supplies. I've actually had to be like, all right, let's calm down a little bit. But there's so much free stuff. So, we go around, we ask for money to help sponsor animals, or, cash in hand is really helpful to buy feed and pay for medical bills. But also, we kind of need X-Pens and like beds and blankets and towels.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're the kind of person who is online too much, this could be a good way to direct your energy. Troll Craigslist and Nextdoor and all those things. Get free items. That's a super big help. I would also say, and I'm sure this is true for you guys, businesses. If you've got local businesses that you're connected to or you're the owner of, definitely every bit of support from small businesses makes a huge difference for rescues and sanctuaries. So I know, like, you have a vegan cheese company that you partner with. Any businesses like that can help draw eyes to the topic, draw people in who want to help, volunteer, donate, adopt, that sort of a thing. So I think small business owners or those who are connected to them, that is another route in to help us out and help us get support and get more people interested. And it's Vaca's Creamery, is that right?
No.
What's the name of the... Oh, okay. Well, there's a vegan cheese company that is up north that I've seen is connected with different sanctuaries, and they're super great. That type of thing, that is just more eyes and more people engaged with it.
So volunteering, fostering, finding free stuff, that can be really helpful, but also just following us on social media, sharing our posts. I know you put out a lot of educational stuff, like how bunny care, rabbit care, myth busting, right, that sort of thing. And so the more followers and the larger community that we can have, kind of the better, right? Not everybody can go on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace to find things. Not everybody can volunteer. We're an hour away. You're out in Oakland. But, Instagram's so easy, sharing alike, commenting, so we know, like, actually there are people out there. Yeah. Is really helpful, not just to buoy us, but then to help broaden our community.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know that's how the algorithms work, right? If you comment on a post, even something like, cute bunny, cute cow, that literal comment makes a difference. So even if you have only 5 minutes, you don't have any extra space or money, you can't volunteer, any of that, you can share, you can comment on a post, pass it along to other people. Maybe that next person is the person who has $1,000 to help pay a cow vet bill. That's the kind of thing we really, really need. Yeah.
And the other benefit that we have is, people don't know that there's a kind of crisis with dumped rabbits. They're so cute, and you get them, and then they grow up, and maybe they pee on something, or they act out in a certain way. And so, the more that you can share, it also just brings awareness to certain problems that are occurring in our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when you think about what people's experience is the first time they come to your sanctuary, and maybe they were already veg or they're already vegan, or maybe they weren't, and they interact with a critter, a species that they've never interacted with before, that is life-changing. It always is. You can see it on people's faces, and I think that every critter we can get someone in front of helps them all out. It opens their perspective, it broadens their lens of where their compassion can be directed, right? If people can get to a place that they've met a cow and a pig and a chicken and a rabbit, then it really changes their lens on the value of these critters in our lives and the value of their own lives just on their own. Yeah.
Oh, what else do you want to say?
Please help us.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. So our website, I don't know why I did this. These are the things you look back on, like, why did I make my website that long? But it is herdandflockanimalsanctuary.org, all spelled out, every letter. Herdandflockanimalsanctuary.org. We're a really small organization, and so if you send the contact, it's going to go to my email. So my name is Megan, and we're up in Vacaville.
And again, I'm Jessica. It's Oakland Street Bunz with a Z. Fully aging myself as a Gen Z person with that Z in there. But it's oaklandstreetbunz.com. Easy to find. Same thing on Instagram, and it's under my name on Facebook. All of those locations, you can reach out to me there. I definitely would encourage you, if you do see postings on Nextdoor, any of those places of dumped rabbits, please get engaged. It's one thing to send it to me, but I receive several hundred of those per month. So ideally, you could see it, send it to me, and then we could discuss you and your neighbors assisting to help that bunny out. That would be a huge difference, because at this point, we just don't have enough resources to help as many as there are being dumped right now. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you all came out to the World Veg Fest. Hopefully you've eaten lots of yummy food. I'm probably going to go get a snack. And just thank you so much for caring.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having compassion.